did I get into wargaming? Well, let me let you in on a little secret, kids. Yep, this is the part where I reveal I'm a fake 40k fan and admit I've never played a Warhammer game, or any war game, in my life. And to be honest, I have no desire or intent to change that. I'm not really much for competitive strategy games, or memorizing sheets of stats or rule lists. I mean, fuck, the couple times I've played tabletop games, period, I'm sure I drove my DMs crazy asking, "What dice do I roll again?" No, dear viewer, instead I got into 40k through the wonderful world of video games, and having internet friends who are into 40k. Back when I used to do video game streaming, in the before time of the summer of 2009, oh god, that was so long ago. A few of the folks I made friends with in the audience were 40k fans. I thought the various memes were funny, plus some of those friends commissioned me to do some goofy 40k art for them, particularly of Slaanesh and Slaanesh accessories. After reading up on 40k a bit, it seemed kind of fun, so I bought Dawn of War 2 on a Steam sale. But there was another thing that those same friends introduced me to that completely sold me on 40k, and that was Alfa. But we'll get to that in a sec. Now, this is where the meat of the video is going to be, because I need to make up for how embarrassingly short the beginning was. So as a streamer, while I did try to play games and whatnot, I didn't really feel like that was what I was best at. I wasn't good enough at games to be interesting to watch, nor was I particularly charismatic or funny to listen to. Instead, what I ended up having more fun doing was live readings of bad fanfiction, or as I called them, storytime. I loved reading things aloud, putting different voices to characters, and it was always fun to read the horrified reactions from viewers as I regaled them with such classics as My Immortal or Christian Humber Reloaded. Being a proper voice actress was kind of a fantasy of mine, but I was a kid with no acting history and a crappy Staples lapel mic. It wasn't happening. And then came Alfa. So fast forward to the second half of 2013. I'd been subscribed to Alfa for a little while by then, since those 40k friends I'd mentioned had shared his videos around, and I thought they were great. One day while checking my subscriptions, I saw that Alfa had put up a casting call for a female character in the game he was working on at the time, Tales of the Alpha Legion, the Screaming Knight. I'd been doing story times periodically for about 4 years by that point. I'd bought myself a slightly better microphone, and I'd also gotten a little stage acting experience under my belt thanks to being drafted into my college's acting troupe on short notice, and finding it so much more fun than I'd expected that I stayed on. So I thought, maybe I could try out for that. Of course, I waffled back and forth a little bit, like, nah, they're probably looking for somebody that sounds professional, or who doesn't sound like a 12-year-old boy. But then I figured, well, worst he can say is no, right? Give it a shot. So I did. And I got picked. And then a few months later, Alpha asked me if I'd like to voice Alicia Dominica in the third episode of If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device, since by this time he decided maybe he was gonna do a series, see where it goes. And now here we all are 7 years later. And honestly, I could not have imagined anything that's happened with the series, or anything I've gotten to do through it. I've run into text-to-speech memes out in the wild, there's fan art of Boy, I've gotten to do fun streams, I met a lot of cool people, and been suggested by some of them for roles in other projects. I mean, shit, we got to do a video with fucking Paradox. I had to sign an NDA and everything, it was fucking bonkers. Being a part of this project gave me even more confidence to do something I'd been considering for a while. So let's rewind a little bit. Now, I'd had a YouTube channel for some time when Alpha added me to the gang, but I hadn't really done much with it at that point. I did a goofy Silent Hill video, a couple comic dubs and short readings, and a few college project uploads, but nothing major. Sometime in 2014, I left the stream I'd been at for about 4 years because I wasn't really having fun there anymore. The audience had gotten kinda toxic. A few friends and I started up another stream, but it didn't really take off and folded about a year later. By 2016, I wasn't missing streaming in particular, since the state of the industry had long left me behind, but I was missing doing story times. I missed entertaining people by reading them horrible, terrible things. But Livestream, which was the primary streaming service I'd used, was more or less dead by that point, and Twitch didn't have a section for non-gaming streaming at the time, and probably would shut me down anyway for some of the more, ribald things I tended to read. By that time, I'd gotten a little more experience with video editing by working on Ask the Legion, a video that was intended to be a series where people could ask questions about the lore for the Alpha Legion that the veterans, as they were called, had been working on, but which folded after a perfect storm of technical issues and the lore being changed too much too often for any of my material to remain correct. Thus, I thought, well, maybe I can post to YouTube instead. I can make some goofy pictures to put with the readings, maybe a little background music. You know, just something to make it funny. But, of course, since I am incapable of doing things without the validation of others unless I am being driven by challenge or spite, I put up an interest check first, and after receiving a general, yeah, sure, why not, I got cracking. And thus began my spotty-ass track record of uploading story times. I am trying to fix this, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I love voice acting, it's great. To hell. Nah, I'm kidding. I'd really like to get these goddamn videos out at a rate of more than 2 a year. It's just admittedly kinda tough to find the energy to do them sometimes when I'm a full-time office lady working vampire hours, and all I want to do on my weekends is fucking play Final Fantasy XIV and sleep. But I'm gonna fucking fix that this year. I'm buying myself a new coffee machine and a bag or two of Death Wish, and I'm either bumping that number up to 3 videos a year, or I'll put myself in the hospital with heart arrhythmia, whichever comes first. Nah, but seriously, I'm not gonna say something like, I wanna hit 10k subs! Because the shit that I do is supremely niche, and I am very much aware that my entire viewership is trickle down from text-to-speech. Not that I'm trying to sound bitter about it, I just know what side my bread is buttered on. You didn't come here because you knew what Christian Humber Reloaded was, you came here for Boy, and that's perfectly okay. All I really want to do at the end of the day is entertain you guys with stupid pictures and purposefully bad narration. Pretty much anything I say is gonna sound real fucking rich considering all my subs are by proxy, but, keep your expectations reasonable. Don't expect to have 10k subs by the end of your first year unless you get real fucking lucky or the algorithm just happens to pick you. Have a proper recording setup. Get a decent microphone, something in the $50 to $100 range, never a headset. Your visuals can be jank as fuck, but if your audio quality is good enough, people will stick through it. Conversely, your visuals can be magnificent, but if your audio is bad, or worse, non-existent in the case of people who still make tutorials with notepad typing in the year of our Lord 2021, people will bounce. Finally, do something you are genuinely interested in. If you're just making videos to chase trends and aren't actually interested in whatever it is you're presenting, you're going to burn yourself out and it's going to become apparent in your videos. You'll feel a lot less authentic if you're just aping material instead of talking about something you genuinely know about and want to share. It's why I do niche shit like bad fanfics instead of, like, reaction videos. Oh, also, don't creep on little kids. This is always the worst fucking part, because by the time it gets to me, like, everybody's been tagged. But whatever, Erndil, Zegrim, Speaker D, Zoran, Hulky Crow. Fuck it, let's get the whole Warham squad in here. Okay, bye.